15 person.
Okay, well, sheesh. Cade, it is a joy to watch you play. How'd you feel today?
I felt good. I think just going out there and having fun, hooping was, that's all I really cared about. And coming out with the win was cherry on top. So yeah, it was fun.
Kalib, how good is this team when everybody's firing? When you've got guys going inside, you're hitting the glass, you're scoring, you're shooting at a high percentage. The team is doing the same. Do you feel like you're approaching what this team can be?
Yes, I feel like, honestly, like when we just go out there and who not worry about who gets the basic shots and everything, and everybody just does what they need to do, we're like honestly an unstoppable team.
Was there any talk going into this game really just about how good Arkansas is and how this is the kind of game that, could resonate down the stretch? Maybe Cade, will start with you about the opponent.
Definitely. We got a bunch of really good players. Coach Musselman is a really good coach. So knowing that going in, we knew we were going to have to come in prepared and definitely not take them lightly. They had came off a couple wins in a row, so we knew that they were going to want to come in and compete and win. So I think we did a good job sticking to our game plan and playing hard.
And Kalib, they came in with a reputation of being a fast-paced type of team that really wants to get out there and go. But you look at the fast break points and just kind of the feel of the game, you feel like OSU was, probably the better team in that area. What do you think?
Yeah, like Coach Mike told us before the game, it's two teams, he said we're basically similar to each other. We both like to get out and run. So we stress so much when getting back and, going our yard. But really, we just did what's natural with us, and that's honestly running. We had to get stops, and we got stops down the stretch. We kind of put away from that at the beginning of the second half. But honestly, that's all we needed to do. We just got stops and just did what we normally do.
All right, before we open up to questions, Cade, what was the biggest and most important thing today?
I think definitely, running them off the three-point line. They hit 5 today, so anytime you can hold a team like that to 5 3-pointers, you're giving yourself a pretty good chance. So, and then we won the rebound total. Those are the two biggest things I think that we emphasize, and to do those really says how locked in we were.
Members of the media, if you have questions for Oklahoma State's Cade Cunningham or Kalib Boone, please click raise hand and we'll try and get to everybody. Please, though, address the question to who you want to have answer it. Our first question is going to come from Jacob Unruh of the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, Cade, I know you said you felt good, but you hadn't played in 18 days. Kind of what was how did you really feel physically, and what was it like trying to get in the rhythm of the game today?
I think early on, just the first couple up and downs kind of had me winded, just kind of getting accustomed to the pace of the game. But after a while, after my adrenaline got flowing, things like that, I really wasn't, too worried about my fatigue or the fact that I had missed so many days. I just try to, still myself and be in the moment. And yeah, I did that, and eventually I got comfortable in the game.
What have the last few weeks been like for you, having to be sidelined and not do much?
Boring. They've been boring. Being in the house, I haven't been able to do nothing. So, just sitting in there, no basketball, no physical activity like that. It's been boring. But like I said, I just had fun today, and I'm glad to be back.
Kind of walk us through that last stretch. You hit the step back, you hit free throws, you had the interception, you had the rebound, you had all this stuff. Kind of walk us through those last minute or so that you went through.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of gravitate towards the ball, especially in big moments. I kind of, want to assert myself more. And my team, they do a really good job of finding me and making sure I'm in the right spot. So, all credit to them. They make sure that, I'm comfortable and make sure that I'm allowed to do what I do. So, coach put me in the right positions as well.
Kalib, for you were perfect again in the second half. You hadn't missed a shot in a week. How do you feel right now offensively?
I feel good, man. Honestly, it's more just me doing the stuff that I know I need to do, like roll to the rim hard, post up, still, really just the little things. And honestly, like being active on defense. When I'm active on defense, it brings energy to Cade, Ice, MA, and Bryce and everybody. So then that gets me running. And then when I run to the rim, I mean, I get easy points. And then I get opportunities to show like, okay, I'm not a person that can only just remember. I can get on the block and I can go make a move, score, everything.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Our next question is going to come from Frank Bonner of the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Kay, this first one is for you. In the first half, you guys had 15 turnovers, and then you cut that down to only 4 turnovers in the second half. How much of that helped you guys win the game down the stretch, and what worked differently for you guys?
It was huge for us second half, coming down. I mean, 4 turnovers is a lot closer to what, we're comfortable with in the half. Maybe a little less than that, but 15 was just crazy. So, and I probably had 4 of them. I think I did have 4 of them. So, cutting those down, second half was huge for us. It's a lot more possessions, a lot more shot attempts, things like that. So, just giving them the ball is only giving them more possessions, things like that. So, I think eventually we slowed down, got to run our stuff, and found better shots. And, that's all it takes to win.
And then Kalib, this next question is for you. Battling inside against, someone who's 7'3", and you were still able to do what you were able to do today. What was that experience like for you, going against someone with that much height and reach?
I mean, it was good, but like Coach Sutton and Coach Mike and everybody was telling me, just attack him. So that's what I did. I didn't shy away from it. In the second half, he got a couple blocks on me. So I told myself, you know what? I just gotta go up and score. I just gotta be like, you know what? Forget that he's right there. Just go over him. And that's what I did. And I started making layups and everything. But that experience was fun, honestly. Like I get tired of having to guard people that weigh 50 pounds more than me. So guarding somebody that's taller than me and almost the same weight as me, it didn't feel that bad. So
appreciate you.
Cade, I don't know how many games you've played in your entire basketball life where you were not in the starting lineup. Do we launch the 6th Man of the Year campaign today? Or
yeah, for sure. For sure. I'd love to be 6th Man of the Year, for sure.
There's the talk about you all season has been, you're so unselfish and you do what it takes to help win games and all that kind of stuff. What was your reaction coming into the game when you knew you weren't going to be in the starting lineup, and, what was going through your mind?
I think there's no I was just more, happy to finally be back, really. Like I could have cared less when I got in the game or anything. Just, finally be able to put the jersey back on and go compete with the squad. That's all I was worried about. Coach put me in early, and kind of let me feel the game out. But yeah, I was just ready to have fun. I wasn't really too worried about starting or not starting.
All right, our next question is going to come from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Cade, is there a point in your basketball career where you've had to sit out as long as you have between this Kansas game and today?
I had a bad ankle sprain my sophomore year where I sat out for a little bit. But other than that, I mean, that was my sophomore year in high school, so it's been a minute for sure.
And then can you take me through that play at the end of the first half where you found MA on the lob? Was that Mike drawing that up, or was that you two kind of just connecting there?
He didn't draw it up. I had threw the ball ahead to Avery and they deflected out of bounds at half court. And right then he was trying to, I could see Coach over there scanning the court. I'm like, what is he thinking? And then he just told Bryce, go screen for MA. So I knew he was going to go to the rim, you know what I'm saying? And they put the big fella 7'3" on the ball instead of under the rim. So I was like, it's going to the rim. Threw it up there, and it made so athletic. I just trusted. I wanted to put it as close to the rim as I could, and it made one got it.
How did you throw it over him though, like around him? That's the thing though. Like it really was like a straight shot though.
Take a step back.
And then Kalib, you got a foul called on you on a putback dunk, and that kind of seemed to almost spark you in a way. Did that kind of get you going because you were waving onto the crowd, and then you made like 4 or 5 shots in a row?
Honestly, I told Ken, I said that was a bad call, but I ain't gonna, chip on the case and everything. I thought it was funny because they said I pushed, but I said the person I went over was and met my teammate. I didn't go over anybody on the Arkansas team. But I thought it was funny. And I've been talking to Dre, and he tells me I do too many like expressions and stuff like that when I do get like dog calling me. So that's why I just bring it back and I started laughing.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, guys.
Our next question is from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I want to ask Cade, when do you decide when you're going to be more assertive? You said you're late in the game. It's obvious. We all see it. Do you have a clock in your head at a certain time, or do you go by the feel of the game? Do you ever think about doing it with 15 minutes left in the game, or how does that happen?
I kind of just feel out the game first. I don't, predetermine when it's going to happen in the game or anything like that. It's just kind of a feel thing. Seeing matchups, things like that. And, I knew later in the game, we were getting a little bit stagnant towards the end. So I tried to create for my team, and I think a lot of shots were created for myself, but my team had great spacing, and they wanted to take no shots, so that's what I did.
And for Caleb, do you guys sort of see it when it starts happening with Cade taking over and being more assertive offensively, and what's your general reaction when you see him start doing that?
I mean, he coming into college, he was the #1 recruit. I mean, he's a point guard, he can score, post up, pass the ball. I mean, this guy, honestly, to me, is just a walking bucket when he wants to be. And like, we're as a team, we know that. But like, we know when he was ready to go off, man, we just this. Honestly, that's one of those things. Like I said earlier, you gotta do your part. When you're playing with somebody like Cade, you just gotta when he's hot, he's hot. So you gotta beat the hot hand. And like he does, like it's like everybody with Bryce, Avery, Ice. It's just how it is as a team. When we see that one person hot, man, it's okay, man. We playing this through you right now. So.
Our next question is going to come from Jacob Unruh of the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Cade, I don't know that we're going to get to talk to you again before TCU on Wednesday, but you faced Moses today. You got your buddy Mike on Wednesday, then you got Greg on Saturday. What's it like having to face all your old teammates so much?
It's fun. It's fun because I know that those guys are gonna compete, and they're always gonna make the game fun. They're not gonna back down from any challenge. So, they've all been playing great at their schools. So being able to reunite and play against them for this year in college, it's always a good time for sure.
And Caleb, last time when you guys played TCU, Samuel had a pretty big game, but how do you feel like you guys can match up with him now?
Honestly, we just gotta we can't give him as much things as we gave last game. Last time we played him, which was like offensive rebounds and easy like roast and rim and stuff. But honestly, it's just that first game I didn't play with energy and I didn't set a tone right for the bigs, honestly. So I gotta come out, set a tone for MA, Keelan, Bernard. I just gotta set a tone for bigs. I can't. If I get punked, then that gives him stamina motivation against his bigs. And we've been playing good lately, so I just gotta step up like how from last time.
He'll be ready.
Facts. I will be.
And Cade, I want to go back to Moses for a second. He talked about rooming with you at Montverde. Said a funny story about you guys' beds are awful close your junior year, and you wake up and kind of looking at each other, and how funny that was. What do you remember about rooming with him?
Man, listen, he's not lying at all. Like, listen, bro, our beds were this far. Our beds were this far between our arms. This is how far our beds were. My junior year, real life. I promise on everything. So we had a rule: we're never sleeping facing each other. Feel me? If he's facing this way, I need to roll on my left side. Then he got to switch over. So we never faced each other just because we were so close. But I don't know. I guess it was bonding for us. Like, that's been my dog for last 2 years. So yeah, it's always fun.
What kind of small room were they putting y'all
Bro,
in,
you
bro?
don't even want to know, bro.
You're at the what #1 ranked school for
Shout out
basketball.
my bird, man. I miss my bird. Shout out my bird, but the betting assignments weren't right my junior year for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
I don't know how advisable bunk beds are, when you're 6
But
foot.
listen,
So, but I mean, that's got to be a consideration, right?
look, they were bunk beds at first, but the top bunk was so high, like if I couldn't sit up, or else my head would have been through the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? So you can't sit up in the top bunk. There's no way I'm climbing up the top bunk every day. And he got to the school before me, so he already had all this stuff on the bottom bunk all set up. I'm like, oh no, we gotta. It was just moving day. He got there before. He picked his bed. Man, it was all bad, but we figured it out though. Senior year, we were spaced out a little bit better.
All right. Well, hey, our final question is going to come from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Cade, it was obviously a big day for Oklahoma State with the Remember the 10 stuff, the Eddie Sutton stuff. Just kind of what's been your crash course learning on all this, all of the tradition with Oklahoma State?
Coach Mike, and really, our whole administration and everything, they came and talked to us, and kind of let us know how big of a deal it is, and how serious it was back then, for the whole school and the way that the school, handled it. And I feel like, just hearing about, how they handled something so tragic so well, like to have that many people come into a gym and, have people come back to come watch from their professional teams and things like that. I think it just kind of goes to show, the OSU family is real. And, it kind of gave us an extra spark for this game. We wanted to go out there and play hard and win for, to remember all those people from that day.
Appreciate it.
All right. Before we let you guys go, Kalib, earlier I asked Cade the most important thing from today's game. Want to ask you, what is the biggest and most important thing about this team right now in general?
I don't know. It's on you, bro.
I think the most important thing right now is that honestly, man, we're playing with like no regrets, and we're playing with a lot of energy and a lot of care for one another. Like we were so excited to get this guy back right here. But the thing with it though is like days that he wasn't playing though, he was out there talking, coaching, like just like helping each other, like helping us like he was still playing. So honestly, it's just a brotherhood, man, and that's why these games have been a lot better than they were before. We every game and we get closer and closer, and like the bond just like grows.
Thank you very much. Before we let you go, is there anything that we missed that's important that you guys wanted to say while we have everybody here?
Me being excited on the bench didn't start with me. We've already had guys, Fan Flavors, MA when he was hurt. It's our culture now. I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody's locked in from, head coach to the managers. Everybody's locked in. And I think, we're only going to go up from here.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate your insight. Congrats on the win. Have a great night.
Appreciate it.
Are they doing it? Yeah, we'll do it right out the hole.
Coach, welcome. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
What does it mean to you to win on Remember the 10 Day? Eddie Sutton's name being, unveiled there on the court with the Hall of Fame and everything that was going on extra. What does it mean to you?
It's pretty hard to quantify really how much this day means to our program. And because it means so much to our program, it has to mean equally as much to me personally. I'm a pretty lucky dude to be able to grace the sideline as a head coach in this building, place where Mr. Iver basically, in many ways, invented the game as it will be played, specifically on the defensive end. And then his pupil, Coach Sutton, raised the level of this program. And so I sometimes, when I do reflect, think about how I got here And it's because I've had really, really good people with me. I've been really fortunate to have great mentors. Been really good to work with good coaches, had really good players. And today I'm glad we were able to put a smile on the families of the people who lost their lives 20 years ago, and to do it against a program where Coach Sutton coached as well. So thankful to Coach Musselman for their participation in today's ceremony for him, and I'm glad our team won.
Now, before we get too far into the game and everything, I mean, the shooting shirts, the shirt that you're wearing right now, I mean, it's really making a statement. I mean, this is a big thing. I mean, Coach Sutton is someone you honor and all of that. How much do you feel that the players are absorbing, these kind of moments and the importance of these kinds of games?
They're pretty young guys, and young guys tend to be a little bit more oblivious to things like this. But I have a responsibility to do everything I can to bring awareness to it and to let them understand the gravity of what Coach Sutton meant to our program and continues to mean to our program and to the game of basketball. And so we don't do anything for no reason, and most of the things we do have great meaning. And I remember still the first and only time I really had a conversation with Coach Sutton. It was at his house about 2 weeks after I got the job. And he asked us to do two things, which was play defense and to take care of the Cowboy basketball program. And we're doing our best to make sure we hold that promise.
All right, and before we open it up to questions, we'll just switch gears and go to today's game specifically. What mattered most? What enabled the Cowboys to come out on top today?
Well, I thought it was a great college basketball game. And I feel better saying that now after a win than if I'd been on the other side. But both teams played really hard. There's a lot of talented young guys out there making plays on both sides of the floor. Like we thought, it'd be an exciting game where there'd be a lot of points scored, and you would have to figure out who can get one more stop to the other team late. And we were able to do that. So I'm pleased with how we responded, specifically in the second half as far as taking care of the basketball. And then obviously Kalib Boone's performance was tremendous. He's now put 3 consecutive games together where he's been very, very productive, and obviously it didn't hurt having Cade back.
Members of the media, if you have a question for Oklahoma State head coach Mike Boynton, please click raise hand and we'll try and get to everybody. Our first question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Mike, you mentioned very briefly that at the end it helps having Cade back. That's pretty obvious, but kind of walks through the decision to have him come off the bench and letting him feel his way through today.
Well, it was Cade's decision. Cade and I talk about just about everything that we do here. And, I want him on the court as much as he's able to be out there. But he saw the rhythm that our team had played with. Obviously, the person who went into the lineup for him was Kalib. And he thought Kalib had earned the right to continue to start and that he needed to work his way back in and earn his way back into the lineup. To me, it just goes to show you the type of person he is. Great kid. He's going to start for an NBA team, and I brought him off the bench. So I'll probably be the last coach to ever do that for him. I'm glad that, he's the type of kid that I want this program to be about, because he's got such a humility about himself. As good as he is, he really cares about winning, and he really cares about his teammates.
So, on that same regard, do you think he's going to be back in the starting lineup Wednesday? How do you approach that moving forward?
In a normal year, I would have a hard time answering that question. In COVID year, it's even more difficult. I have no idea who's going to be able to practice. So I'm going to stop short in answering that because I don't know. But, I play guys based on practice. Cade hasn't practiced as much and hasn't been in rhythm. I think you saw a little bit in the first half. He was a little off, right? And he got his legs under him in the second half and played better. So I don't know. He certainly isn't going to come off the bench the rest of the year. That's not going to happen.
What did you see that last stretch from him too, where he hits the step back, he's hitting 3-point plays, he's doing everything, it seems like, at that point?
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I get to see it pretty often. I get to coach him in practice every day. I was able to recruit him for 4 years. And, you can tell that the confidence and his scoring mindset has definitely come a long way. He was always more of a pass first, get other guys involved. And part of the knock on him was, can he take over as a scorer? And I think that question was answered with a resounding yes today, because he certainly made every play on the offensive end that we needed him to make late in that game.
Thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned the turnovers. First half, you had 15. Second half, you come back and only have 4. How do you like the way that they were able to adjust after having such a turnover-prone first half?
Yeah, so Arkansas is a little bit like us in the way they guard as well, because they give you a lot of different looks. Ice had 4, and I think Cade and MA, man, I should just look at it here. Ice had 5, and MA had 5, and Cade had 4. None of them had 1 in the second half. So I think they all adjusted better to how they were changing defenses. And we just needed to slow down. I looked at the stat sheet about halfway through the first half, and we had 7 turnovers, but we had only missed 1 shot. So the talk at halftime was, hey, if we can run a clean offense and get good shots, we feel pretty good that we're going to be able to score. So just slowing down, making an easy play as opposed to trying to hit a home run. We needed to hit more singles today, and we started doing that better in the second half.
Now, I know you said it was Cade's decision to come off the bench, but at what point did you know that he was comfortable enough to be able to play that many minutes?
I didn't. There wasn't any conversation about a number. How would I figure that out? This game still is about feel, and it was just a matter of how he felt. He got in. You could tell he was out of rhythm. He came back out probably as quick as he's come out of a game in terms of when he went in and came out the first time as he has all season, because I wanted the game to kind of settle. And so I was just feeling him out. That's part of what this relationship is about, is trusting each other. He knew I was going to put him out there at any risk. We waited the time we needed to, and I was going to play him as much as he could, like I normally would. So there wasn't a number I was looking for. And so we just kind of played him as we saw he could help us.
Thank you, Mike.
Our next question comes from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Mike. Cade, game after game in tight situation, really asserts himself offensively in the last 4, 5, 6 minutes, whatever it might be. Have you ever considered trying to broaden that spectrum, or is that just something that just needs to happen late in games?
I mean, we certainly. He's our best player, and certainly one of the best players in the country. So when we get in those situations, he's going to be probably option 1, not necessarily to shoot, but to make the play. The thing about it is we're trying to strike a balance between how the other guys can take some of that off of him. We also need Kalib to get going, and he's playing well. And MA is doing a lot of really good things. So just from game to game, Barry, you just adjust to how you think you're going to be guarded. If you want to put him out there and ask him for the shot, that's really not who he is. So we need him to be a little bit more assertive early in games, but I don't know if it's going to come at the expense of having other guys who maybe aren't as equipped to just go get it on their own late in the game as he is, if that makes any sense.
Thanks.
Our next question comes from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Mike, I talked to the 2 guys about the end of half play where you guys were able to steal a bucket with 0.6 seconds left. Can you kind of walk me through that play from your perspective?
Yeah, actually, it's a play we run all the time. We hardly ever look for that option. I think it's still like once a game. The guys tell me it's never there. I don't ever believe them. But I think with the time, they knew we didn't have much of a choice to go to the other option, which is basically throw the ball in the half-court area and look for a ball screen. And then you got a guy who's really smart and capable of making a play, taking the ball out. And I don't know if you could have made a more perfect pass. And then you got a guy who can catch it with their hands and finish. So it's really – we only have 2 side out-of-bounds plays, and that's one. We run that one on that side of the floor, probably giving away too much now. And we run one other one on the other side of the floor. And that's literally all we ever do.
And then what is different about Kalib in this stretch? Obviously, it seemed like having the 2 posts kind of helped him a little bit whenever Cade was out. But is there something that you've seen through film or even today that you've noticed that Kalib's doing differently that's making him perform a little bit better?
I think he's playing with a little bit more clarity. I think he admitted that his mind wasn't focused on the right things a couple weeks ago. And it's hard to play this game, especially when you're relied on to do a lot of other things without having the ball in your hands. So if you're frustrated about things that don't matter, it's really hard to, because a lot of his job is to help his teammates first. And if you're worried about how things are going for you too much, it's hard to do that. And so he seems to be more engaged as a teammate. And I think that's helped him have more individual success, which then in turn is helping our team as well.
And then turnovers were a big issue the other night as well, happened again in the first half. You mentioned kind of just slowing down. Is that kind of what you got based on the film of the last game? It's just you guys need to slow down a little bit?
Yeah, we need to slow down. I watched the game after when we got stuck in Ames. I watched it in the hotel that night, and I immediately told one of the managers to take it off my computer and never put it on because I couldn't watch it again. I usually watch a game like 3 or 4 times. That one I did not. But I knew that we had to clean up offensively. But again, part of it was they're changing defenses. You got to give them credit. They were pretty scrappy. They're pretty active length-wise, just like we are. And a lot of turnovers were forced. But some of them were sloppy, and we got to clean those up as we move forward.
And then it seems like you guys have drawn more charges. You've had a team full of slashers this year. It seems like you guys have gotten more charges taken. Is there something that you can do about that, or is that just are you just going to pick up a couple of those a game?
You trying to get me to talk about officiating?
No. I'm just saying that you guys as a team this year have maybe drawn a little bit more charges, like jump stops. Is there anything that you can coach, or do you want them to keep being aggressive when going to the basket?
I got to coach better. I do. I mean, it's something you got to drill over and over and over again. With a young team, you can't cover it all. It just takes time. It is what it is at this point. It's one of the areas we got to get better at. Again, I don't know if they're all charges. That's as much as I'll say about that. But it's certainly an area we got to try to get a little bit better at.
I appreciate it, Mike.
Our next question is from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Mike, back to Caleb a little bit. He seems a little tired of the idea that he's undersized for a big guy. Is he playing with more of a chip on his shoulder about that as he's going against a guy that's 7'3" today and other big guys?
Yeah, I mean, he played against the big kid, Condit, to start the game at Iowa State the other day. And obviously Baylor had several big guys that he played against. And I think he's got a lot of pride. I mean, he's a great kid. Almost too nice of a kid sometimes, to be perfectly honest. And he's a pleaser at his very core. He wants your approval. And I love him like a son. And sometimes I'm like, you can piss me off. Just do it playing well. Make me mad, but block some shots and grab some rebounds. We'll be all right. So I do think he's playing with more of a chip on his shoulder. He's playing with more assertiveness, and his play is a direct relation to how we played the last week and a half for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Next question is from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Mike, I know it's still January, got a lot of basketball, but is the upside for this team on the rise? I mean, whatever you thought they could be, are you having to extend that boundary a little bit because of the way they've been playing the last few weeks?
I don't know if I would say that. I would imagine that, I'd just say, like, Rondell Walker's play has surprised a lot of people. And so that would be an example of, wow, he can help this team as well as Cade and M.A., who came with a little bit more hype. And maybe they can be a little bit better. Nobody knew much about Bryce Williams, who wasn't very good today. And I think that happens when people just learn and have a chance to see us play. I recruited all these guys. So I knew what they're capable of, but I don't try to put ceilings on kids. My job is to try to make them as good as possible. And as long as we have time to practice, we'll try to get better. And so what is our ceiling? I don't know what that is, but I'm not really focused on that right now. I'm glad we won today, and I know when we come back to practice the next time, we got to get ready for another really, really hard game.
So that'll do it for questions, but this is now the team's 4th quadrant 1 win, the kinds that resonate most as we go into March. Did you expect a team that's this young to be picking off big wins like this? I mean, this doesn't feel like something that you see every day. What is it about this group? Why is it working out so well?
Well, one of the things I picked up on early when we got here and had these guys around late in the summer, they're a really competitive group. Like really competitive. Everything is a competition. And when you have that type of environment, guys get better because there's always a guy over your shoulder trying to push you. Avery Anderson is as competitive of a kid as I've ever seen. Like he's upset when he's on Cade's team in practice because he knows, right, where he's going. He wants to have that challenge every day. And then Rondell gets in on it, and then Bryce gets on it, and everybody knows that Ice is super competitive. And May's got it. And so it's just kind of bled through the whole team. And it's a great sign that our program is in good shape because many of those guys will stay around here for a while. And we got a chance to see some glimpses of what we can be, to Barry's question, in different segments. We just haven't put it together, everybody. Bryce wasn't very good today. Ice was only good for parts of the game, not the whole. So this team's got a lot of growth still in it. And I'm glad that I'm here to watch it.
Well, Coach, that'll do it for questions. But before we let you go, is there anything maybe that we missed that you wanted to cover while we've got everybody here?
Well, again, condolences to Coach Chaney, his family. Again, I don't think I can say that enough. Obviously felt honored that we were able to put a Hall of Fame stamp on our court for Coach Sutton. It's a big deal. It should have had like 2007 or whenever he stopped coaching on it, but that's 2020, and that's fine. And certainly thankful that we're able to play and hopefully put a smile on the faces of the people's families who lost loved ones 20 years ago as we played for the Remember the 10 today.
Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations on the win. We always appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
Members of the media, thank you as well. We appreciate you.